Okay. Okay, everybody, welcome to the More Listings Mastermind. My name is Robert Weichelt. I'm your host today. Every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. You can find us each week at morenowlistings.com. And yes, you guessed it, the topic of our mastermind each and every week is taking more listings. That's what it's all about. That's what I like to coach, train, and mentor on. And it's just something I'm very passionate about. A long time ago, I decided I wanted to be a listing agent. I wanted to work with sellers. I wanted to drive the traffic to my open houses so my buyer agents and my team could foster more business. And it just works out well for me. I look at it this way. I can take 5 listings in the amount of time it takes for a buyer transaction to go down, whether it be showing multiple properties, writing multiple offers, you get the whole thing. So let's go ahead and get started with the More Listings Mastermind and kind of talk about, I just want to introduce who it is that you're listening to. My name is Robert Weichelt. I'm the host of the More Listings Mastermind. Each week we have special guests, and this week's no different. I've been almost 40 years in the real estate business. I'll celebrate 40 years this coming February. Oh my goodness. I feel it. I've seen a few things. I'm a broker, trainer, mentor. My mission is very simple, guys. I want to empower others to grow, win, and lead with purpose. I specialize. So the reason why I tell you what I specialize in, because there's going to be a lot of folks that watch this, a lot of folks on this call that want to know about the REO and distressed properties. I've been in the REO market since 1994. To stay alive till 95, that's a long time. Again, in the early 2000s, and again, when it starts to come again, and it's certainly rearing its ugly head. I specialize in FSBOs, expireds, notice of default, notice of trust deed strategies. I specialize in lead generation, listing mastery, and agent development. My goal is to help agents take more listings and grow their team, teach their team, and just really have an amazing real estate career. Building scalable systems is so huge. I tell you, before I used to just write everything down on a piece of paper. I just kind of had stuff everywhere. I'm getting more and more systematic, and I'm super excited to share some of the things we're doing today. So let's get started. I always like to start off with this quote. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. Tell me, and I forget. Teach me, I may remember, but involve me, and I learn. That's the deal. That's where the real magic happens, and that's Benjamin Franklin. So, do you have the tools that you need to succeed in this business? Do you have the tools that you need to take listings at a high level, very high level, working with FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosure, investors, attorneys? Do you have a way to sell their home in 14 days or less? Do you have a way to get the sellers the highest and best price in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of liability, hassle, and expense? I would love to share that with you, what I'm doing. Do you have a cash offer solution? There's a lot of cash money out there, and there's a lot of sellers that are super stoked about selling their home all cash until they see the offer. So I want to show you the strategies that we're using to take listings at a high level, high level. And I've put together, and Carla will be dropping in the chat box, a special bonus, a 14-day free trial for, I use My Plus Leads. Now people use RedX, Land Voice. There's lots of different ones. I personally use My Plus Leads. I find it gets me exactly what I need, nothing more, nothing less. FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosures. Those need to be contacted each and every single day by you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that muted. That's great. So moving on, here's the thing, 5 habits. Now write this down, guys. Go old school if you need to. Take a screenshot of this. But these 5 habits will help you grow your real estate business starting today. If you're sitting there going, man, I don't have as many listings as I like, you could pick up the phone and have a conversation with a FSBO right now and get a listing. You can reach out to a pre-foreclosure, help them, guide them through the negativity that they've got going on. If they need to sell their home, be a resource for them. Expireds, I got to tell you, I love expireds. So they've already shown that they want to sell their home. I love them. FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosures, that's where I live. Okay, so write these things down. Lead generation, number 1. There's no exceptions. If you're not prospecting, you're not working. You need to block out 90 minutes each and every day to prospect sellers and focused prospecting. Now, focused prospecting means the door closed, the phone away, and then you're just prospecting, you're hammering it out. Focus it in and put it on your calendar. Number 2, track and measure your numbers. What gets measured gets improved. You need to track and measure your numbers. You need to find out, and I know Brian's going to totally cover this. Is going to be great. So track and measure your numbers. And after this call, we have the more accountability mastermind. That's where we go over tracking and measuring, goals and actuals, role playing, scripts, everything that you need to track and measure your business. So those of you that are tracking and measuring your numbers, stick around. After this call, we're going to dive right into goals and actuals. You need to set appointments daily. That's really kind of a big thing, right? Setting appointments daily. You need to have at least one buyer or seller appointment each day, or it's a red flag in your business. Follow up like a pro. 80% of conversations happen in follow-up. The conversion is in the conversation. So 80%, that's a big number. So you need to make sure you're following up, because you've heard the old term, fortune is in the follow-up. And number 5, sharpen your skills. You need to role play. I'm a big Padres fan. Fernando Tatis doesn't just roll into the game. No, he stretches, he practices, he's in the batting cage, he's running, he's going over every different scenario. He's pre-gaming, he's role-playing for the victory ahead. So role-playing is key. Studying scripts. You need to internalize your messaging, because your words matter. Okay. My mentor, Bob Mangold, told me this a long time ago. Your words matter. Watch top agent content. Come to the More Listings Mastermind, but more importantly, review the objections. When you're prospecting on a daily basis, you're going to have objections that sellers give you. You're going to have the things that and they're not real creative. Let's just be very clear. I'm not trying to bag on the seller, but they're not creative with their objections. We need to know how to handle those objections as they come in. And a lot of my coaching clients, when they're prospecting, whether it be calling, texting, mostly texting, because I find that's the most powerful way to get a hold of somebody on a high level. If somebody responds back to you and you're like, I have no clue how to respond. A lot of my clients that I work with, they'll text me that screenshot and I'll say, this is what I would say to that seller based on what they said. So I do a lot of that. So I want you to write this down too. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. That's a big thing. Think about that. This is going to be good. So with that said, I want to go to the next step. If you want to survive, not just survive, guys, not just survive in real estate, but thrive, I invite you to book a 30-minute strategy session. We'll take a look under the hood, find out what you're doing to take more listings, and dive in and let's see what's wrong. Let's make some tweaks. So don't forget, after we're finished with the More Listings Mastermind, we're going to dive right in to the tracking and measuring, the More Accountability Mastermind. It's more of an insight on tracking and measuring, role playing, scripts. We're going to dive into that shortly thereafter. So save the date each Wednesday, morenowlistings.com. Now, I tell you what, this is the exciting part. I'm done talking. I just wanted to say a few things, but I can tell you, this is going to be good. So I'm building you up, Brian. So I'll tell you what, this is going to be good. So with that said, my good friend, Bryant Cartagena, official Tony Robbins trainer. Our topic today is become recession-proof, guys. The market's starting to shift. If you agree with me, put in the chat box that you understand what's going on. And it's not a doom and gloom response. It's more of are you prepared as things start to shift a little bit? I'm paying attention to the notice of default, notice of trustees. Are those increasing in your market? Pay attention to that. So become recession-proof, how to succeed in any market by becoming hyper-productive and taking more listings. So with that said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to bring our special guest on, and I'll tell you what, this is going to be good. So Bryant, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing amazing, and I kind of love the tee up, man. I'm super excited to be in front of so many amazing individuals. I can see how involved everybody is, and I just love coming into a meeting that already brings so much value. I'm already taking notes. I don't know if you guys saw me, but I'm in pen and paper learning myself. So thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's do this. Let's dive right into it.
Mira, creo que yo me casaría con una china, güey.
And if you
Like
guys
una,
could mute yourself, that would be super awesome. Cool. Thanks. Okay. So let's dive right into it. Who's Bryant Cartagena?
Well, as you said, not only a national trainer, and this is not to boast or brag, but I'm hand selected. I'm one of five national speakers for Tony. So I'm 30 years young. I'm happily married. I'm a business owner here in New York. I run a half a dozen businesses, specifically around performance-based industries. So run an auto brokerage, an auto dealer, a tax firm, and so essentially, I've been in sales to some extent my entire life. But the reason why I work with Tony now hands on is not only because of my passion, my youth, my energy, and my good looks. I'm just kidding. But specifically because of how many, basically, they call me the octopus around Tony Robbins because I do so much with my time. Again, I have four little ones. I'm happily married. That's my greatest success. But I'm also a business owner. I also have time to spend with people like you guys and pour out and share my passion. And so, specifically because of that, Tony has essentially hand selected me to work with individuals on being more productive with whatever they choose to do, whether that's more listings, a better quality of life, better health. How can you be more productive with the time that you already have?
Amen, amen. So let's do this. What's going on at Tony Robbins? What are some of the great stuff you've got rolled out?
So as I kind of mentioned, our big initiative right now is around time mastery, and that's why they kind of sought me out. On top of everything that I mentioned, I'm also a big volunteer for Tony. So I've been volunteering in Tony's events for the last 6 7 years, where everything from opening doors to running the whole production team. I've really basically had my hand in anything Tony Robbins, and so right now we're specifically focused on bringing more productivity to the marketplace, to performance-based businesses, so to speak, or small business owners. Because guys, after 2020, as a mankind, as a country, we're less productive than we've ever been. We're in a place in our life right now where technology, instead of fueling us forward, has really made us less effective. And so Tony's launching for the first time ever an initiative around productivity and time mastery. So he's launching his exclusive execution tool, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. What does Tony do to run 114 businesses, generate $9 billion worth of revenue, have a loving, passionate relationship with his wife, have time to host global events, work with some of the greatest minds in the world, and still have time to go to an AC/DC concert. And so we're gonna share exactly how he's able to do something like that and how I'm able to do what I do. And hopefully you guys are gonna be able to do everything that you or what's important to you.
Good, good, good. So let's just get started. You have a presentation you'd like to share with us. Go ahead and
Yeah,
share
so
your screen and let's get going. Let's get
I
fired
was
up,
kind of
guys.
laughing, Robert. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. But
Yeah.
you put in the end, this is not only about surviving, it's about thriving. And I started cracking up because, as you guys can see in the presentation, the whole workshop is designed around your time to thrive. And it's a little play on words because we're going to be talking about that time. But this is really a moment in history where, guys, if you focus and hone in on mastering your time, you'll be more successful than you could have ever imagined. And so Warren Buffett said, not Bryant and not even Tony, Warren Buffett was quoted on CNN saying that we'll make more money, an individual will make more money in 2025 than we've made in the last 10, 15 years combined. And when they asked him why, he basically said that small businesses are gonna start faltering. People are gonna start dropping like flies. I don't know if you guys know, but in 2024, 71% of registered agents in the MLS didn't make a sale, didn't perform at all. And so everybody in the performance-based business is kind of feeling the pain, but that just means that there's more opportunity for those of us who do show up, for the people that do bring value to the marketplace. And so I'm not saying everybody's going to make a lot of money, but there's going to be a lot of individuals that are going to have more success now than ever because it's not the way it was in 2021 where a blind squirrel could find a nut. The way that you produce now is really important, and how you show up and how you utilize your time is going to be more essential than ever. And so I specifically want to bring awareness for you guys to how important it is right now to start mastering your time. By the way, by show of hands, who here is already familiar with Tony Robbins, by the way? Okay, or drop a one in the chat. If you're not familiar with Tony, drop a two. I just want to see who I'm speaking to here. Before I kind of dive deep into the meat and potatoes, I want to make sure that you guys understand exactly who we're talking about. Tony's been the leader called upon by leaders. Essentially, Tony's worked with some of the greatest minds of our generation, from US presidents to global leaders, some of the greatest financial minds like Paul Tudor Jones, Mark Benioff, Ray Dalio, entertainers, sports team. Tony's basically, and Robert is not gonna like this, but he worked with the LA Dodgers, the MLB World Series champion LA Dodgers before they won a chip. And so essentially what I'm sharing with you guys, by the way, take it with a grain of salt. As Bryant, I don't really want to boast and brag about me. I'm just a bridge. This is really Tony's information and you guys. And this is what Tony's been witnessing for the last 50 years. And if he's focusing and honing in on time, you should understand how important it is now to start mastering it. Because what he's discovered by working with so many different individuals, guys, is that these individuals that I just mentioned, these athletes, these performers, these entertainers, these millionaires, these financial moguls, what they're really seeking is not performance. They do what they do because they want more time flexibility. They want more fulfillment. Matter of fact, you guys can write this down. Tony says, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And so what we really are seeking, yes, it's more listings, but it's more listings so that we can make more money, so that we can have time to do what's important to us. Are you guys following? Am I talking to you guys right now? How many people here want to reduce stress and increase productivity? Drop a 1 in the chat if you want to reduce
What is this shit?
increase productivity.
I get
Time is less. Driving with the fucking.
I think we've got some unmuted folks.
Yeah, it just took some time to mute you guys. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that everybody's kind of
Everyone's getting excited. They're getting excited. I love it.
And so essentially, guys, we're gonna go over Tony's execution tool. This is Tony's greatest gift to humanity. His words, not mine, because he believes that as much as he's been pouring out the last 45 years in regards to mindset and psychology, a lot of people lack, especially now more than ever, productivity. What do you do when you have a positive mindset? What do you do with all the mechanics, with all the strategies? Sometimes we get stuck on learning so much and we don't do anything about it. And that's because, again, we don't utilize our time appropriately. So who here remembers Robin Williams? Robin Williams, Peter Pan, right? Amazing individual. He was one of the most audacious individuals that Tony ever worked with. And while he was working with Tony, Tony specifically was really focused on helping him excel at everything he kind of wanted to. And he specifically wanted to be known not as a comedian, but as an actor. And he started working with Tony. He's like, I'm going to win an Oscar for the opposite of comedy. I'm going to win an Oscar for drama. And working with Tony and some acting coaches, he went ahead and did that as well. Robin would walk into a room and light it up. Everybody would love him. Everybody would laugh. And he still ended up taking away his life. Why? Because of the fulfillment, because he wasn't doing what was important to him. And so, again, obviously, I'm here to help you guys do more and be more productive at work, but I want you guys to take that with a grain of salt, because what I really want you guys to do is live a better quality of life. I want you guys to start creating a life by design and no longer living by default. Because if success comes at the expense of something else, guys, it's not success at all. And so we're in a world right now where we're fragmented and we're not really present in what we do. And a lot of it has to do with technology. And although technology can assist us and help us moving forward, that same technology has been holding a lot of us back. And so before we dive deep into what we call the time traps, Tony did a Stanford study that just brought to light the actual things that are holding us back from being productive. I want you guys to start shifting the questions you ask yourself. Because Tony says, if you want better answers, you need to ask better questions. And so when it comes to productivity and time management, so to speak, I want you guys to start asking yourself in everything you do, instead of what do I need to do, because we always have things to do, right? Everybody here has a constant never-ending to-do list. I want you guys to start asking yourself, what do I really want? And you guys can write that down. What do I really want? What do I want out of today? What do I want out of this workshop? What do I want out of this session? What do you want out of this mastermind? What do you want out of this week, out of this project? And I love the way that Robert kind of spoke about the habits, because that alone just kind of gives you a blueprint of what you should be aiming. Start with the end in mind, guys. And that's one of the biggest keys that I can share with you when it comes to time productivity. Start with the end in mind. He said lead generation. In my business, there was something I called MMA, money making activities. And if you weren't doing one of these 4 things, you weren't really working. And so that was, for me personally, that was prospecting, closing, asking for referrals, or getting customer reviews. If you want to do one of those 4 things, you can do all the open houses in the world. You can do all the walk-arounds in the car industry. You can go on social media, post all the videos, do all the learning, but you weren't being productive. And that's the problem that people are facing nowadays, that there's so much to do that we're doing nothing. And so what I want to present to you guys is exactly what's stealing a lot of our productivity. And it comes in the form of what I call time traps or numbers. And so I want you guys to write down these numbers: 60, 5.5, 253, 82. And when Tony became obsessed with mastering time, this was about 30 years ago, he did a Stanford study where he started understanding what is it that's holding us back from being productive, what's stealing our time. And this is exactly what he shares, because once we bring awareness to it, guys, it's not rocket science. You'll be able to start eliminating some of them out of your life immediately. So 60 represents the amount of times that an average American gets interrupted during a day of work. 60 times. Not during an entire day, just during a day of work. That's 8 hours. You get interrupted 60 times. That's about 8 minutes. Every 8 minutes, one day, you're getting interrupted. Something's going on. The phone is ringing. An email pops up, and when you focus on the email, you read it, but you don't respond. Then you go back to prospecting. That's why I love what Robert said. He said, dedicate 90 minutes and 2 hours and just everything off. Because now that after we started working from home and we have all that flexibility, it's so easy when the dog barks to go up and walk the dog. And then you come back and you make one more call. And then after you make that call, you get a little hungry. And then you go and make yourself a sandwich. And then you come back and make one more call. And then you got to get coffee. And then this and then that. Your phone rings. Social media doom scrolling. And we're losing productivity. And most of it is because of 5.5. That's the amount of hours that an average American spends on TV or social media. 5.5 hours, Robert, on the San Diego Padres, man.
That's okay. That you have an exemption for that.
I hear you. By the way, I had to shut down my phone because in my phone I had ESPN going crazy. The Red Sox are 8-8. I'm a big Boston fan, and so the Red Sox are playing Anaheim, and it's 8-8, and it's so easy to get distracted, guys. Yeah. And we don't even notice. And I know that some of you guys are looking at me like, I don't spend 5.5 hours. Well, 2 things. Even if you spend 4, it's an average. So 4 hours, 3 hours, 4.5. The point is, we're spending a lot of time on a screen, guys. But also, if you guys go on your phone, go on your settings, and there's something called screen time, look it up. You'd be surprised how much time we spend on our phones. Most of us don't even know because we're so accustomed and so used to it. But we're spending a lot of time on the screen, guys. How can we get more listings? How can we close more deals if we're spending so much time being distracted, 1, and number 2, glued to a screen? And a lot of us call it learning. A lot of us think we're working because we're opening up emails, but we're not really being productive. And there's a stat to show it. 253 represents the amount of actual productive work that an average American gets done during 8 hours. And so I'm going to throw that stat for a second. I saw Robert laugh. Forget the stat. Think about this for a second and just put yourself in that predicament. You have 8 hours that you allot out of your life, out of your day to work, to be productive, to close more deals, to make more money, to do whatever that is. And you're being productive for 2 hours and 53 minutes. Call it 3 hours, about 35 to 40% of the time. Guys, what's happening to the rest of that time? We're wasting our lives. Natasha said, yikes. Yes, yikes. And so I'm not saying, by the way, because nobody here is your boss, I'm not saying work more. I'm not saying work less. All I'm saying is that when you're working, work. That's all I'm saying. When you're at the beach, be at the beach. When you're with your children, be with your children, because this does not only apply to your real estate career or to your job. This literally applies to absolutely everything that we do. We're fragmented. We're all over the place. We're with our children. We're thinking about the listings. We're at work and we're thinking about our health. And we're at the gym and we're thinking about the beach. We're at the beach. We're thinking about our kids and so on and so forth. We're all over the place, guys. That's what's stealing our productivity. Because we have more technology than ever now, and it is a resource. We can utilize it to our advantage. So technology is not the problem. It's our focus. And it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. And 82 kind of wraps everything into an umbrella is the percent of people that do not have an effective time management system. And effective, that's a key word, effective. Because we all manage our time. We're all running some sort of system. Might be on a computer. It might be on a note. It might be on our phones. It might be in our head. but we're all running some sort of system. The real question is, are we running it or is it running us? That's the difference. That a lot of us are reacting to the external world, guys, instead of being proactive. And this is what I'm hoping that by just bringing awareness to this, you guys can start shifting your behaviors. Next time an email shows up while you're supposed to be prospecting, I hope you think of Bryant, think of Tony, and close that email down and continue making phone calls. But the same applies for your children. If you're with your children, be with your children, because we already heard the story of Robin Williams, and it's not a secret why so many people that have had success without fulfillment end up with bad habits, end up with drug addictions, end up in really bad places. It's not because money is evil. It's because at a core level, we're not really being fulfilled. We're not filling up our cups in all different aspects. And so I want you guys now that you guys got that into your head and you guys understand, again, take a picture, snap it. I want to ask you guys a deeper question. Imagine you guys had 10 more hours of stress-free time every single week. And I know that Robert couldn't relate because he's essentially built his business out of this model. Robert, what do you do when you have 10 hours of stress-free time?
Oh, a lot of great things. A lot of
Other
great
than going to watch San Diego.
Yeah.
Angela, what would you do if you had 10 hours of stress-free time every single week? Angela, what would you do? What would you spend it doing?
Oh, I would spend a lot more time in my garden.
That's awesome. You're a gardener?
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. That's awesome. And I love that you shared that. Guys, who here would spend a little bit more time doing the things that they love? Drop a 1 in the chat. If, like Angela, you would spend time doing what you love, what you love. Because, guys, that's the first thing to go. When we start feeling overwhelmed and that we have so much to do, the first thing that goes out the window is our health, is our fun, is our family. A lot of us who here, drop a 2 in the chat. If you had 10 hours of stress-free time, you'd spend more time with family. You spend more time with the people that you love, your children, your spouse, right? There's basically 3 buckets. You're either going to spend more time having fun, kind of like Angela, right? With your garden, whether that's playing sports, watching sports, whatever it is for you. You spend more time with family or more time on yourself, meaning personal growth or your health, something that helps you become more. Because those are the 3 buckets that, guys, we launch out the window. The moment that we get overwhelmed with the constant never-ending to-do list, we let ourselves go first, then our family. And so I want you guys to have some perspective on that, because it is possible. How is it that Tony's running 114 businesses? Obviously, it can be done because the one thing that we all have in common, guys, is 24 hours in a day. The one thing that we all are capable of is living for 24 hours. People have better education, more money, different circumstances, a different opportunity, different environment. But the one thing that we all have in common is 24 hours in a day. And I know that it's easy to look left and look right and believe that somebody has more opportunity than you do. But Roy mentioned he went to school with Tony. He was part of his wife, where he said he was my wife's student body president. Listen to that. And so obviously, and I'm not saying that Roy doesn't come from a great background, but he comes from the same background as Tony. Tony didn't have anything special, and I'm focusing on him, obviously, because he's had massive success. But that applies to anybody that you kind of go around. There's a lot of individuals that have the same time, the same opportunity, the same ability as you do, but they're being more resourceful, guys. People don't lack resources, especially nowadays. What we lack is resourcefulness. And that's what we need to start doing, is being more resourceful with our time, because that's the one thing that we all have in common, guys. There's machines making money, but there's no machines making time. And so what I want to do is share with you guys a quick little assessment. I want us to draw a big circle. This is maybe my favorite part of the entire workshop. And you guys are going to divide it, not like a pizza, not in 8, but maybe in 6 different categories. And we're going to call this the wheel of life. We don't have all day to do this, but take about 30 seconds to a minute to fill in your wheel of life between the different categories that I'm providing, or you can kind of come up with your own. But essentially, most humans are divided up between their health and their energy, family and relationship, your career and business. That's different than your finances. Career is how you make money. Finances is how you make money work for you. You have your personal growth. For some people, that could be religion. For some people, that could be contribution, spirituality, whatever, but something that fuels your soul. And then fun and recreation, what you do for fun. You know, for Angela, for example, it was the flowers, it was gardening. For me, it can be my sports. For Robert, it could be the pod. You know, I keep going on back to the pod, but you guys get the point, right? What do you do for fun? What do you do for recreation? And so that's what consists of what we call the wheel of life. And it's important to measure yourself. Again, I love the way Robert teed this up. We didn't even plan this because you can't grow what you don't measure. You can't grow what you don't track. And so you need to track even yourself because, guys, we're multifaceted beings living one point of experience. I'm going to say that one more time. We're multifaceted beings living one point of experience, one point of consciousness. So I'm not Bryant, the Tony Robbins trainer. I'm Brian, the Tony Robbins trainer. I'm Brian, the spouse. I'm Brian, the friend. I'm Brian, the athlete. I'm Brian, the gym goer. I'm Brian, the coach. I'm Brian, the business owner. I'm Brian, the dad. And so I'm different versions of me every single time, but I only have one point to address it. And so what happens is we're fragmented all over the place. We're putting our hands in so many different buckets and we feel overwhelmed. That's what causes stress, is that we're not present with our current experience. So did you guys know that over 55% of divorces are because of finances? And so everything affects everything. So if you're not making enough money, if you're not being productive with the 8 hours you allot to your job, to your career, to your real estate business, then that's trickling down to your family. And if your family is not doing well, if your spouse is not doing well, then that's trickling down to your personal growth, and that's trickling down to your health, and your health is affecting your fun, and your fun is affecting your career, and your career is affecting your finances, and that's how we end up in this rut, and we don't know how we got there. And so a lot of the individuals that are massively successful, real success, real happiness, real fulfillment, it's when they're able to grow substantially in all areas of their life. And so I want to do a little, actually, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I want to hear you guys out. I've been talking for a lot. Press the space bar. That's going to allow you to unmute yourself. And I want you guys to shout out, if this was a wheel in the car you call your life, would it be bumpy or would it be a smooth ride? Would it be a bumpy ride, guys, or smooth? Go write it down in the chat. Would it be bumpy or would it be smooth if you did the little assessment?
Bumpy.
Bumpy.
A fun one for sure.
Bumpy.
Lopsided.
I'll definitely be falling out of my car.
Cynthia,
The whoop-de-doo.
no, wait, we got to catch you, Cynthia. I'm glad we're here. And guys, that's just us talking about a little ride. Imagine we're going 100 miles an hour. Because a lot of us are performers. If you're taking your time at 1 p.m. on a Wednesday to join a mastermind, it's because you guys want more out of life. So imagine you're going 100 miles an hour, you're looking to perform, but this is what your wheel looks like. How fast before you crash and burn? How fast before you spin off road? How fast before you get into some real trouble or like Cynthia fall off your car? And again, it's not about performing. A lot of us know what to do, and then we wonder why we're not doing it. It's because we're not fueling ourselves with momentum in all the different areas that matter, that are important to us. Are you guys following? Because we all want to make more money. Everybody here wants to make more money, correct? So why don't you prospect? Why don't you do what you need to do? Why don't you close the deals? Why aren't you tracking everything and doing everything that you're supposed to? Well, one of it is belief, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But the second aspect of it is the fact that we're not whole. We're not fulfilled. If our wheel of life is not smooth, it's so easy to fall off course the moment that something goes wrong. It's so easy to get distracted when everything doesn't feel like it's worthwhile. When you're not only making the money, but if you're making all the money, and you're not taking the vacations and you're not having the fun and you're not investing into your finances or you're not really fulfilling your relationship, what does it matter? Because again, if your success comes at the expense of something else, it's not success at all. And I'm gonna repeat the quote once more. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And so now, guys, I want to ask you guys the deepest question out of this entire workshop. And I need everybody to just blow up the chat and respond truthfully, honestly. I want to hear what you guys really think. What is really stopping you from already being at that next level? And I use the term next level, but what I mean is fulfilled. Because I don't like to just say fulfilled, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm happy. I know that you're happy, but we can all agree that there's a next level in our life, right? There's another level of peace, another level of tranquility. There's more that we can accomplish. And so what's stopping you from being there? And be real. What's holding us back from getting to that next level, from performing at our peak, from blowing up that wheel and being at a level 10 in everything that we do? Cynthia said my day job. So we're going to put responsibilities. Responsibility. Roy said myself. Roy, that's good. And I love that I'm talking to the right people. This is a mastermind. dig a little deeper, right? What about yourself? Because obviously we're not talking to a group of people that say the APR, the interest rate, the president. So it's within ourselves, but what about ourselves? Robert said focus. Too many distractions, focus. This is kind of funny, but for me, it was time. So when I was volunteering for Tony and I was running my businesses, when I was originally selected to be one of his national speakers, I was like, Tony, I don't feel like I have the time to do that. And he looked at me and he's like, that's exactly why I'm picking you, because I believe that you master your time really well. So it was a funny situation. But the point is, for me, it was time. So I was going to let go of my dreams, because this is my dream to speak to people like you guys. But I was going to let it all go because I didn't have time. The little ones needed me, my family. So that was what was holding me back, my time, or my time management, so to speak. But what else, guys? Let's hear it. This is the most integral part. Once we understand where we currently are with the wheel of life and we understand what's holding us back, it's easier to create a map going forward. Time, lack of experience. Experience. Time. What else? Who here, guys, has procrastinated in the past? Drop a 1 in the chat or raise your hand if you're on camera. If you procrastinate, I'm not calling anybody a procrastinator, but who's procrastinated? Right? I see a couple of hands go up. If you guys don't raise your hand today, you'll raise your hand tomorrow. That's how it works. Procrastinate. Robert said confidence. That's it, guys. This is an easy list. This means that you guys should be able to crush this in no time. Carlos said confidence as well. If that's it, then I feel like my time here is going to be well spent. By the time that we're done here, you guys should be able to eliminate all of these. But be real, guys. What's holding you back? Or are you guys already where you want to be? Are you guys already extremely successful doing everything that you want to do with your time and doing everything that's important to you? That's a different conversation. That I'm definitely in the right group here for sure. But if there's something that doesn't feel like it's exactly where you want it to be, what is it? Lack of knowledge. Knowledge. Thank you, Cynthia. Knowledge. Experience. And so, guys, this list is not unique to you guys. Energy. Angela said energy. Awesome. There you go. We're getting some in. And I share that because when I do these with so many different teams all over the country, I was with a bunch of doctors in India in the pharmaceutical industry last month. And guess what their list was? Same thing. Responsibility, focus, their experience, their procrastinating, confidence, knowledge, energy. A lot of what you guys are mentioning right now. Howard said it's frustrating when I put in the work with no results, for sure. Lack of outcome or results. I'm going to talk to you, Howard, a little bit about that specifically. Results versus action, because movement doesn't always equal progress. So we'll talk a little bit more on that. We'll touch base maybe on the next session. I really want to go deep into that. But guys, Tony's been studying human nature for a long time now. And essentially, he always asks himself the question, what determines success or failure? And what he's came up with is the fact that there's a very eloquent way to kind of tie all of this together. They all have something in common. And what he calls it, guys, is BS. This is a bunch of BS. BS. You guys know what BS stands for? No, it's not. It's not what you think, Robert. Stop laughing, man. Stop laughing. This is a PG meeting. I see Howard and Robert cracking up. It's not what you guys think, guys. It's belief systems. Belief systems, guys. That's all that this is. It's a bunch of belief systems, a bunch of BS. Because, guys, belief systems are simply the way it's something that we believe with absolute certainty. It's not a thought. It's not a feeling. It's not an idea. It's a belief. Something that you're absolutely certain about yourself, about the market, about others, about the world. That's a belief. And, guys, all human behavior is belief-driven. All human behavior is belief-driven. And so in a time right now where things are a little shaky, where people are going to be falling off the cliff, it's our beliefs that are going to keep us grounded to our actions. Because, guys, your beliefs lead you to a thought. Your thoughts then determine your decisions. Your decisions then lead you towards action or lack of action. And then that action produces a result. So I know it might not be exactly what you guys thought you would hear. I'm not here to teach you guys mechanics. You guys are smart individuals. You guys work with Robert. You guys show up to these calls every single week for the most part. So you guys are learning. You guys are growing. You guys know the strategies, but the strategy is always going to change. And the way that you follow through on your action and everything you learn, guys, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. But what fuels that power is your beliefs. Because Henry Ford said it best. He says, if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're also right. And I'm paraphrasing here. But essentially, I'm not saying that any of this is wrong. I like to laugh a little bit and call it BS. But the reality of it is, guys, that there's two types of beliefs. There's limiting beliefs, and that's what these are. And then there's empowering beliefs. There's beliefs that fuel us forward, that allow us to look at the light at the end of the tunnel, that empower us to do more, to take more action, to live out our dreams. And so, again, all human behavior is belief-driven. You will never out-earn, outsell, or outperform your current belief systems. You just never won't. You will never do anything that you don't believe in. You won't get more listings if you don't believe that it's a good market. You won't make more money if you don't believe that you're capable. You won't get that loving, passionate relationship if you don't believe you're worthy. You won't go to the gym every single day if you don't believe that you can lose the 10 pounds. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're following what I'm saying here. Because my brother says, Brian, what you do is a lot of motivational mumbo jumbo. And I agree. He's like, well, it's all about taking action. That's Fugazi, Fugazi, Woozy, Wazi, right? That's fairy dust. And it's like, brother, I get it. I'm an action taker. But you will not take action on something you do not believe in. So it first starts with a belief. That's the most important part out of everything that you do. It's what do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about others? What do you believe about the market? That's what's going to fuel you forward no matter what's going on in the external world. No matter who's the president. No matter what kind of interest rates there is. No matter if there's a recession or not. What do you believe about your actions is going to determine your results. Because, guys, why is there an individual in your same market, in your same industry, for your same company that doesn't make the money that another individual with the same opportunity does? Or why is there an individual who wakes up every single day at 5 in the morning, works out, eats healthy, drinks water, does everything he needs to do while another person can't put a burger down? It's their belief. One of them believes that working out and having energy creates vitality and allows him to show up better for his business. The other individual believes that burgers are good. And, or maybe not that simplistic, but he might believe that you should enjoy life, that eating is a luxury, whatever it is that he believes, but it's not the information that's separating the action. They both have access to the same information. Are you guys following? Am I speaking to anybody here? But their beliefs behind the information, Angela, it's what's going to allow them to take action or move or not. And so that's the part that we all throw out, especially when it comes to difficult times. We look at what's going on right now, the interest rates, the inventory, and we start creating limiting beliefs that hold us back. Matter of fact, I'm going to share with you guys to kind of wrap up here, Tony's success cycle. And I want you guys to draw 4 boxes. And this is the way that Tony works with individuals to help them develop momentum. How do we start being proactive no matter what's going on in the external world? And this last exercise here should hopefully bring everything together for you guys to understand the power of your belief in a more actionable way. And then we'll touch base on another call and kind of dive a little bit deeper. But guys, let's talk about 2024, for example. I work with about 60% of the workshops that I host are in the real estate industry. Because you guys are some of the hungriest, most performance-based individuals on the planet. But 2024 was a little bit rough. And so a lot of individuals didn't make the money. They didn't get the listings. They didn't close the deals. They didn't do what they set out to do for 2024. And so we spoke about 2 types of belief. What kind of beliefs do you think this individual creates? Empowering beliefs or limiting beliefs?
Limiting.
Limiting beliefs. And then those beliefs lead to, you think, more or less of their potential? Do they tap into more or less of their potential?
Of course, less.
Less. And then by tapping into less of your potential, do you think you take more or less action, Robert?
Absolutely less action.
Less action, right? And then what happens? Do you get the results you're seeking? Yes or no?
No.
No. And so that's the way that it works. And if you notice, there's arrows, guys, because it's a cycle. The biggest mistake is that people believe that the buck stops there. Oh, I'll do it next time, Brian. I'll close the deals next year. I'll make the money next time. I'll go on the vacation for my children next opportunity. I'll quit my job next time, Cynthia. And you just put it off to next year and it's just a different goal. Matter of fact, 72% of New Year's resolutions are recycled. We just find a different way to word it year after year. But it's the same goal. It's the same outcome in mind. And so what happens is, guys, The buck doesn't stop there. Imagine I got this marker and I'm here in New York weather and I throw it out the window. How long? Imagine I leave it there for 3 months. I leave it out there for 6 months, for a year maybe. 3 years, because some of us have had these same limiting beliefs, the focus, the experience, the time, the procrastination, the confidence for 3, 4, 5 years. Some of us have had those limiting beliefs since our childhood, guys. And I won't be able to change that in a 45-minute workshop. You're going to have to go see Tony yourself for that one, and I'll give you that opportunity as well. But essentially, guys, some of these limiting beliefs have been holding us back for a very, very, very long time. So imagine I left that marker out there for, let's call it 3 years, because a lot of us have had 1, 2, or 3 of these for 3 years. And 3 years later, I'll go grab that marker. Guys, is that marker going to be better? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
If I leave it outside, Robert, for 3 years in the New York weather, that marker's going to be better? It'll be deteriorated, right? It'll be worse. It'll be flat. It'll be dried out. And so that's what happens with us. I don't know if you guys can see the board. Can you guys see the board right now?
Yep.
A little bit, right? So if you have a limiting belief because 2024 was rough. You establish that the market is bad, sellers are not knowing what they're talking about, people are not paying, and there's too much inventory, not enough buyers, et cetera, et cetera. And so you tap into less of your potential. That leads you to take less action, and you don't get the results for 2024. What happens is, guys, you start reinforcing those negative beliefs, those limiting beliefs. You start saying, you see, Bryant, I told you that it's a bad market, and I told you that I don't have enough time to do this listing stuff, and I don't have enough money to go see Tony Robbins, Bryant. I don't have time for that stuff, and the market is not good, and I didn't make the money. And so now you tap into less potential, you take less action, you get worse results. Now you start not only reinforcing those limiting beliefs, but you start creating new ones. You see, Bryant, I don't have the time, and the market is bad right now, interest rates are high, and I don't have the money to go see Tony Robbins. Plus, the company I work for doesn't support us. I don't even get enough prospects, and I don't even have enough tools to do what I need to do. And so now you tap into worse beliefs, worse potential, worse action, you get even worse results. And then that cycle, guys, starts continuing to the point where you start doubting your beliefs and you start believing your doubts. And that's the difference that makes the difference. That's what holds people back from being productive. It's not time, it's not productivity, it's not managing it. We all have 24 hours and we all know what to do with it. But our beliefs is what determines our actions, because all human behavior is belief driven. So imagine, let's take a second to imagine what it's like to feel like you're in the right place at the right time. Again, Warren Buffett said that there'll be more money made now than ever. And you have a great opportunity in a great market with a great company, but more importantly, you're pouring into yourself. You feel valuable. You understand what you're offering to the world, the gap that you're closing, and with that level of belief about yourself, about the market, about what's going on, do you think you'll tap into more or less potential, guys? More or less potential?
Go ahead. What do you guys think?
Or potential? And you think by tapping into more potential, guys, do you take less or more action? More or less action?
More.
More.
More action. And by taking more action, now you get the results. Now you have a good year, you do what you set out to do, but then you develop momentum. Because if you get success when things are hard for others, when you start focusing, let's say, on getting more listings, because right now the buyer's market is a little difficult, so you're like, hey, let me work on this end, and you find a way to be resourceful. Now you find another avenue of making money. And now you start developing better beliefs. Well, I am a smart individual. I am valuable to the marketplace. I should keep pouring out to myself. I should continue to learn. And now you pour into more potential, more action, better results. And next thing you know, that cycle works its way the other way around. Not only are you making more money, but you're developing a team. You're creating more freedom for yourself. You develop confidence. You can focus more on your business, more on your family, more on your relationships, more of the things that are important to you. And that's the difference that makes the difference, is having the right beliefs. Just to use a sports analogy, Steph Curry, guys, takes 500 shots before every single game since he was 11 years old. He's the best shooter in the world right now. But he didn't wait to be the best shooter in the world to take 500 shots. Are you guys following? And so he started obviously with a belief about himself, about his vision, about what he wanted to accomplish, that allowed him to move through his potential, take action, and get results. And he kept getting results, and it wasn't always the best shooter in the world, but it was a decent shooter. It was a good shooter. It was a better shooter. And so essentially at some point in his trajectory, now we look at him and we believe he's blessed. We believe that, wow, he has God-given talent. He has God-given gift. No, he just had the right beliefs about himself that allowed him to take action when maybe everybody else wouldn't. And that's what allows you to create results during a time in our life right now, guys, where results are short and far between. Realtors are not showing up the way they should because, like I said earlier, 2021 threw a lot of people off. A blind squirrel could find a nut. And so now that the world is coming back to what the way it is, and a lot of you guys have been in the game for a little while now, so you understand that this is just going back to reality. This is going back to the way it should be. But it requires you to be productive and, more importantly, have the right beliefs to take the action that you need to take. And so, guys, that's essentially it for me for now. I've spoken to Robert. I really want to dive way deeper into everything that we shared. But Robert, I don't know if you kind of want to take it away. I do want to invite you guys for who here, drop a rocket ship on the chat if you saw some value in what we spoke about just now, just so that I can have an idea and engage the audience a little bit. See,
you know what, that was huge. And what you just said is we have a lot to cover, and that's the good thing. We're going to have you back on July 2nd, same bat channel, same bat time, Wednesday, July 2nd. Bryant's going to come in and continue this conversation, and we appreciate you so much. Let's get a couple of questions. Anyone have any questions for Bryant? This is a great time. Be honest up front. Ask him the questions, and let's power through it. Any questions, guys? Go ahead and mute yourself. And while you're doing that, I really want to thank you for your time, because this was absolutely amazing. I don't know about you, but I've got all these notes. I've taken some huge notes. I've taken some screenshots. I appreciate it. We'll have this on recording. We'll get you guys a copy. But any questions, Cynthia? I see that you unmuted.
Oh, no, I was just looking at it. I was looking at the square box right now. I normally go from like just to action, like, okay, let me do it, but I don't believe in myself, so I always miss those 2 steps ahead
That's
of time.
excellent. Thank you for sharing. I think that's where the breakthrough really happens. We all know that we are lacking some things. And I think that by addressing them in an accountability setting is the best medicine, because we get a chance we got cheerleaders now. We're rooting for you. We know we want to be there as a resource for you. So thank you for sharing that. Anyone else like to share before we go into the mortgage minute? Okay, Bryant, I want to thank you so very much, my friend. Again, we'll go ahead and share this recording with you. Everybody that registered, we'll get it to you. For some reason, if you didn't get it, just reach out and I'll make sure you get a copy of this. This is a powerful session. I want to thank my dear friend, Jeff Russell, for jumping on. Thank you, Jeff, for jumping on. Every one of you guys that have taken a little bit of time out of their day to spend with us, thank you so much. Carla and I appreciate you. But our goal is to bring to you guys the value that's available out there. We want to keep you fired up. We want to take more listings each and every week. We want to help as many buyers, sellers, and investors grow their business. We want to help our agents grow, and we want to just be able to pour back in. So, Bryant, awesome, my friend.
Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate you guys for the opportunity. I am going to, before I jump out here, I do want to share, that's a QR code with my information personally. So you guys can reach out, my phone number, my email on there, my social media. You guys can reach out if you guys have any questions, any aha, any breakthrough, how to continue your learning, how to do more with what we shared. I would love to discuss that with you guys going forward. And again, I appreciate you guys showing up to this call, because that's 5% of the bat. That's the 5% mentality. If you guys are here, it's because you guys already want more and you're not a drifter. And I love working with non-drifters, people that I don't necessarily have to convince, but people that I can speak to and help guide and share with what has worked for me in the past. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
One last thing. I can't let you go before I say this. My buddy Safwan, who's on the call right now, a couple of years ago, we all went to Walked on Fire, and it was absolutely a game changer. But what's funny is I walked on fire with Tony in the early 90s, and I literally was so fired up. It was amazing. So I tell you what, if you guys get a chance to reach out to Bryant, please do it. Let's grow your business. Let's grow your mind. Let's get you focused. Bryant, thank you, my friend, for being on.
Can I make one quick comment?
Yes, go ahead.
One thing that stood out to me, and I meant to say when we opened the mic, is that when he said we all have 24 hours in a day, and it's how we use it, made a huge difference in what I thought. I mean, if somebody can run 14 businesses in 24 hours, why can't I do one?
Yep. Amen. You know what? Thank you, honey, for sharing that, because I think we all have a little bit of that we think about. We all want to do more. We all want to do better. I think it's up to us to surround ourselves with people that are like-minded. And that's what I hope to bring with the More Listings Mastermind on each week. So, Bryant, thank you so much, my friend. We're going to go to the Mortgage Minute. Go ahead and let's bring Richie on real quick. Richie Sorensen in the house. What's going on in the market, my friend?
What's up, Roberts? That's a tough follow-up, but I'll do my best here to give you a pump-up mortgage minute. So I'll start with the market. I took some notes. We have some relevant data coming out right now. The job data that just came out was much weaker than expected. So only 37,000 jobs were added last month, and that's the lowest since March of 2023. And we're all wondering, if the labor market is weakening, why haven't mortgage rates dropped in a meaningful way? Well, while we're seeing signs of an economic slowdown, the Fed is still very cautious. They want to see sustained progress on inflation before cutting rates. So even though bonds are reacting positively to this data, it's not enough to drive rates lower. And then I thought what was cool for realtors is on the appreciation side. Home prices are up 2% year over year and forecasted to climb another 4.3% over the next 12 months. So if you take a $500,000 home, that can gain $20,000 in equity within a year. So from the lending side, we're helping both buyers and sellers navigate this market, from creating financing options that boost purchasing power to tools that help your sellers attract more offers. So we're in a shifting market, but not a bad one. There's opportunity, and I'm here as a partner if you want to help strategize around listings, buyers, or your database. And I appreciate the time, Robert.
You know what, Richie, a lot of people on the call, a lot of people know that you've just recently helped our son close his first home, bought his first home. And our daughter just closed her new home here in Kentucky. That's where I'm at right now, here in Kentucky. And, he's done other transactions for me, but those two are kind of important. And when you have your son and your daughter, a family member, you're referring to somebody that is going to make you look good. Thank you, sir. That was awesome. You really, really made me look really good. So thank you for that. And I encourage each and every one of you, if you do not have a mortgage relationship, reach out. If you do have one, get a second, get a backup, and have somebody like Richie in your corner. So Richie, thank you so much.
Can I share just a success story real quick that I literally had today?
Please do.
So we had a buyer, and they're in the jumbo range. Their loan amount is going to be above $2 million, and they were declined by 3 other lenders. One of them was Bank of America, 2 other retail lenders like me. But we leave no stone unturned. What we did is, their debt to income was a problem, but they have assets. And we paired with our programs the income plus asset depletion and got their underwriting approval within 48 hours on a jumbo program. So it's little things like that where we're going to go the extra mile. And you can have a client like that, like, hey, they were just a client, send them to me, just get a second opinion. And I might turn that into a lifetime client and a paycheck for you.
Amen. Well, I tell you, you keep making me look good, and I appreciate it. Before we hang up, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. Richie, thank you so much. Bryant, Cartagena, wow. Are you guys fired up with that? He's going to be back on our show July 2nd. We're going to continue that conversation. Bryant, thanks for jumping on. Every last one of you, thanks for committing to your business. Thanks for committing to be the best agent that you possibly could be. Thank you for being that agent that wants to get the seller the highest and best price in the shortest amount of time. Stay tuned for next Wednesday, every single Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, morenowlistings.com. You guys have a great day. Stick around. We have the Goals and Actuals course right after this. We're also going to do some Q&A. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great day, guys.